Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we are going to be continuing on with our Swift programming tutorial series, and in this tutorial we are going to be taking a look at functions in Swift. Now, what exactly are functions? Well, functions are reusable blocks of code, essentially. They allow us to more easily reuse our code instead of, say, like, as an example, let's say we have 15, 20 lines of code that we need to execute on a loop or in multiple places in our application. We don't want to write those same 15, 20 lines of code in multiple places or put that 15, 20 lines all directly in a loop. That is not very efficient. It makes it harder to read, it makes it harder to maintain. That is why we have functions. Now, you may hear function and method being used interchangeably, and technically they are interchangeable, but also not, because functions and methods are different. We'll talk about methods later on in a future video, but functions are those reusable blocks of code just outside of a class or struct. Now, again, we'll talk about structs and methods and classes later on, but just know that functions are reusable blocks of code that are not contained within them. All right, so how exactly then do we write a function? Well, we can write a pretty simple function where we can use our log level enumeration, right? That we created in the previous video with some modifications. We're going to modify the local level or the log level enum here in a second. But you can have that passed in as a parameter and then print something in its place, right? Print something as a result of that data being passed to it and all that stuff. So let's go ahead and go into our navigator. Oh, all right, I'm not in Xcode. That's right. Go into the navigator. Project navigator. We're going to say log level.swift. Log level. All right, so what we're going to do is, instead of the raw value being a string, or rather an int, we're going to make it a string. All right, pretty neat. Now, we're going to change these raw values. So info equals, instead of 1, it's going to be info. And instead of debug, or rather instead of 2, it's going to be debug. Instead of 3, it's going to be warning. And instead of danger being a value of 4, we're gonna have it be fatal. All right, we've modified our enumeration now. The next thing that we're going to do is, inside of our main Swift, we are going to write our function. Now, to do that, we need to say func, so func, and then we need to give our function a name. This name is going to be, let's call it log. And let's make sure that let's not give this any parameters for now. So we're gonna say log with a left brace and a right brace, and with a body in between them. So this is the most basic kind of function, the kind of function that doesn't take in any data, doesn't return any data. It just does stuff. It just performs a task, and that's it, right? So in here we'll say print this is a log, but we didn't specify this message specifically. All right. Now, to call this function, we just need to say log open and closing parenthesis. And there we go. That's how we call our function. We just write the name of the function and then the open and close parenthesis like this. Now, of course, when we get into classes and methods and stuff like that, there's one more part to that, but we're not covering that yet. So just keep in mind that what we're doing right now is we just write the name of the function and then the opening and closing parenthesis for the most basic one. Now, let's save our code and run it. And now we get our log printed to the console. Pretty simple, right? Well, what if we want to print a log to the console based on a log level and a provided message? Well, that requires parameters. And so to do that, we can write func log, and then inside of our parentheses here, we can say level colon, and we'll say log level. Comma, message, colon, string. Now, what did we do here? Well, similar to how we create variables, we have a name for our parameter and then its type. And if we have multiple parameters like we have here, they're separated with a comma. The nice thing, though, about parameters is, as you've probably noticed in the previous videos when we called specific functions, and in fact, when we call this function, let's call it, so we don't have to do it later, log, not log level. We just want log. Now, you can see here in the function call, we also are given the labels for these parameters. If we don't include the labels as it is now, as we've typed our function definition, we will get an error. And let's pass this a dot info. So because it knows that level is a log level enumeration, it allows us to use the dot info dot whatever the case is syntax. And then we can give a string, which will be, this is an info log message. However, there is one small thing you should know about function parameters, or rather two small things. And that is, if you do not want there to be the label for the parameter in the function call itself, you want to prefix the parameter with an underscore. Space. So underscore space level. And now you can see when we try to build this code, we get a build failed. And the reason why is because now that we've given our parameter a underscore prefix, Swift is under the impression that we aren't supposed to provide the actual argument label for the parameter. So where we call our log, we can get rid of level. So now it's just log, open paren, dot info, comma, message, colon, and then our message. Now, the last thing you should know about parameters is that you can have in the function definition let's go here. You can have the parameter be up to 2 words separated by a space. So let's say with message. So our message is going to, so our function now reads func log level in our log level with message string. But when we call our method, let's delete our function call for now. We'll say log. So log level, we'll say dot info. And we'll say for the message, it's going to be, this is a log message with the info level. If we go back to the beginning here of our call, when we have 2 words for a parameter separated by a space, in the call itself, when we call the function, the first word will be the one used for the argument label. So in this case, with. Okay. So now, let's get rid of the with in the function signature. And we'll replace it with just message. There we go. Save it. And inside of our method, we're going to say print inside of the parentheses, we'll say left and right bracket. Now this is just style. Those open and closing square brackets in the string. That's just style. That's a stylistic choice. Interpolate our string with level dot raw value. And we can say \t. Now, \t is a special character. That is the tab character. There's also a new line for character for, which is \n. And with that, we can do string interpolation again with message, like that. Now, I should also point out that if you have a parameter with two words, like with message or something like that, inside of the body, you use the second word. So the first word will be the argument label. The second word will be the name of the parameter you use inside the method body itself. So always remember that. I tend to get them mixed up sometimes myself. So let's go ahead and save that and run it. And there it is. There is our little log message. So that's functions without parameters and with parameters. What if we want to write a function that returns something? Well, that kind of example wouldn't do us. Oh, well, a log example wouldn't do us very good in that. So let's get rid of that log function. And let's create something that's a little bit more practical. And we can do this by saying, okay, we want a function. So func, and we'll call this cube underscore value, and we will have this be a double. And we want to return a double. Now, what exactly is this that I just did here? Well, when we open up our function, I'm going to tell you. Okay, so now we have our function opened. We have an arrow, so using the minus and greater than sign, and then our type that we want to return. The return syntax is exactly that. If we want our function to return something, we just put that little arrow and then the type we want to return. This can be any type you want. It can be an integer, it can be a string, a double, a float, a tuple, an array, a set, a custom type that you make with a struct or a class, or just about anything can be returned from a function. So inside of the body, there are two ways that we can do this. If the function is a single line of code, we can omit the return keyword entirely and just say value times value times value. All right, and then we can print cube 3. Let's save that and run it. You can see that works. And we get 3 times 3 times 3, which 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. You can include the return keyword as well, and it will still work. So you can see we still get 27. However, if your function is a multiple line function, so let's say instead of returning value times value times value directly as we're doing right now, we store it in a variable called result. And then we return result. Like that. Save it, run it, and that works too. So 3 times 3 times 3 is still 27, and we get all of that. You can even run your function through a loop. So let's have a loop. So for, let's say, we'll say x in 0 dot dot less than 10. We can say print cube. Let's say x. We pass it x. Go ahead and save that and run it. What happened there? Well, let's see. Let's see, we want... Okay, so what we can do then is let's go ahead and change our func cube just to demonstrate the loop. We can change cube, the value for cube anyway, double to int, and change the return type to an int. Now we have func cube underscore value int returns an int, and we're still saying var result equals value times value times value, and we're returning the result. We can change a result to be a let, and we can get rid of that error, or not so much an error, but that warning. So let results, so on and so forth. Now we can save this and run it. And there we go. It has succeeded now. And you can see in our console, or in your console even, we have all of the cubed values for 0 through 9. So you can see just how useful functions are. If we were to put the declaration of a result constant in the loop and then print it, that'd be 2 lines total in our for loop. And while in hindsight, you might think, oh, well, that's not too much. That's not too bad. Imagine it gets to 15 lines, 20 lines, 30 lines, 50 lines. Then you're reaching the levels of unyieldy levels of big in a for loop, and you don't want that at all. Especially if you have to like repeat all of those lines of code in other places in your code base. Yeah, just use a function. So that pretty much does it on this video on functions, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.